I know his son. Hey, everybody, we'll call the meeting to order, start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father in heaven, we come to you today as humble servants, Lord, of you and of the people of this county. Father, help us to be ever mindful of who we are, who you are, and what the job we're supposed to do. Guide our decisions, our hearts, and our minds, and help us be clear with our thoughts, clear with our words, act in a way which glorifies you. Jesus' name. Amen. Morning, everybody, again. Whoops, sorry about the before. Looking at our agenda, it's kind of full, but we'll get right at it. The first on our item or agenda is county personnel or public comment. Hi, Chris. Is there anybody that's got anything to say? It's between 195th and the Wolf River. That makes sense. Okay, well, I'm not hearing any public comment. The next item is at 8:30, so we'll just skip on down to the minutes of the July 7th meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, or comments to the minutes as presented?
I think it said the orange and maybe once. I haven't got it here, but I think you said the end of month reports for May were there.
Got it. Got it. We just, May is supposed to be June.
I move we approve the show. 5 minutes.
It's been, there's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as amended or corrected. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Good job, everybody. Next is payroll, July 9th payroll. Any comment or discussion?
So question is, when they transfer to that one vacation day over, how did that show up when a person was that just? Yeah. So, yeah,
Employee to employee transfer,
right.
how does that show up? Does that show as a gain on one side and a loss on the other then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, sorry, so minus, okay. Wrong.
Good question. Any other discussion?
I'm gonna move we approve the payroll 7/9 of 2025.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 I,
Motion carried. Thank you very much. Item number 3 is. All right, so as I understand, is there any discussion on this? Or any objection? This is on the Kansas KDFA bond intent, Kansas Development Finance Authority.
okay, so. When I looked on the plat map, there was a 113 acres there, but 131. But there was a road going through there, so I don't know if it was the guys took one side of the road or.
Isn't that creek going through the bill?
I,
Section
I
land.
think the highway goes, the. Whatever that road of Castle goes up through there, goes right there before it gets to the railroad tracks over.
Okay. So do you think the 1/3, I mean, that's in their letter,
I mean, it's their deals are.
Okay. Okay, well, this is in regards to a bond issue for Beginning Fly to purchase farmland. And it looks like the commission's done this in the past. And if there's no obligation, or excuse me, no objection to this, and there's no obligation by or from the county or the state of Kansas, I would make a motion. I would make the motion that the Brown County has no objection to the issuing of the bond. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. That's just procedural here, but we've done our duty. All right, moving on. Item number 4 is the propane contract. Uh, 1,500 gallons at $1.65 paid up front. So I guess the only thing I didn't see here, and maybe I missed it, was where does this actually, where are we using this? Oh, solid waste. Okay, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Well, I know that's a competitive price and then propane. But that's just kind of the project.
So I wonder if they checked with anybody else, see what their prices were.
Ag Partners, I assume, owns the tank. That's an assumption. I do know that my supplier is higher at the front, so that's why I say it's a competitive price. We need a motion. I would make the motion that we approve this 1,500 gallon contract. Propane at $1.65 a gallon for solid waste. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Carried. And I appreciate that, Bill. I mean, I feel comfortable because I just saw my guy and I'm paying $1.70. So I think this is $1.65. So it's more than I want to pay for propane, but it is what it is. Okay, our notice of revenue neutral rate intent. This is item number 5 on our agenda. And we have it in front of us. Yes, we intend to exceed the revenue neutral rate, and our proposed mill levy rate is 44.646. Our hearing date is the 25th of August at 9 a.m. And will be held right here. We didn't circle AM on there, but I assume that's info. Okay. Okay. Okay, if you want to show up at 9 PM, go ahead, but be here, so.
So. Make it. Need to make sure it's clear that that's a maximum.
Okay, so Mr. Pollock would, I guess, like to,
Sure, you need to change that, if people,
so the revenue neutral rate, to the best of my understanding, this is, if we approve this, this is as high as our mill will go. We cannot go up, we can come down, but we're not obligated. Once we post this, this is part of the governing process, and this is our intent, or we notify our intent to exceed. It's a formality, but it's something we need to do, and it's an increase over last year for sure of 9. Is that correct? Was it, that's the right, yeah, 9.
That's a C, people refer to it as.
Seal, okay, thank you. So, is there a motion to approve this notice of the R&R revenue neutral rate intent? I'll move, we approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, no, I understand. It passed 3 to nothing, but this, we do this with a heavy heart and drawn breath. But that's where we are, and we will get through this one way or the other. The next is accounts payable, and we are flying through this. This is great. Doing good work. Any questions or comments on the itemized listing here?
For the STAR programming, it was probably just, it was part of one of your bridges, was that bill? Okay.
yeah, I wondered about that too. And I was wondering about, we don't know what, I don't know what's exactly what the BG services were, on what project they were working, what that was charged.
Like, yes,
For the same.
that would have been 094640. One. Here, but it's still over here. I'm sure it's just on engineering on all the bridges. The project.
This said for services. FAS 51. And the bottom.
There we go. $60,000, times 5. Good to be an engineer. Okay, any other questions or comments?
But the dog waste bags.
Solid waste bagged.
Dog waste. You say dog waste.
Oh, dog waste.
We got the stations out here.
Right.
Put the bags out there. or we have-
$129, so I don't know how long that's for, but
You want to say that loudly so Chris can put that in the paper?
necessarily. But I mean, I don't see
Sure.
it. People use this a lot. So
I'm glad somebody's picking it up. Dog waste bags, and that might be, is that a year's supply? 2 years supply? They probably come in a giant roll. Like they put it. But I'm glad somebody's picking it up. And I'm glad you noticed. But go ahead. You any more questions, Bill?
I had a question on Roy Allen for reports, but I think I've been grew up, so.
Okay.
Um. We pay a lot, the hospital for jail inmates. Only $2,600.
So
I'm just reporting that.
I think I understand why that happens,
Yeah.
but you want to explain that, why we pay for?
Well, yeah, they're our custody, so legally speaking, they're responsible for.
Yeah.
the treatment.
short and simple, but that's the way it works.
So an inmate, if an inmate had insurance even, do we,
It's the hospital can, assess it, but, it depends. A
Okay.
lot don't.
sure,
So,
I just wonder.
Yeah, they can, and it's something the hospital can do as far as billing, but,
That's one.
responsibility falls back. And it's extremely broad. I mean, we've been involved in cases before where, especially like the larger hospitals in the city will, start that responsibility from the time of arrest out the field. So if you have a defendant who's injured, their interpretation is that will start from the moment of arrest. So if they're taken to the hospital and then arrested and charged later, we'll know the first moment that they've been in the hospital. So those can be pretty substantial.
Okay, that's one of those hidden costs that the county incurs that unless you are privy to that, you really don't, I mean, I never understood that before I got here. And it adds up. It really does. But it's an obligation, so we pay the bill. Okay, is there any more questions or comments on the accounts payable here? Is there,
We approved the accounts payable at 7/14 and 2025.
you can do it. Is there a second? I'll second it then. I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve accounts payable from July 14th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. I don't think we're gonna get through number 7 before 8:30 comes in. That's where I got a bunch of questions on that. I'm gonna take a little chair privilege here. I had my Northeast Kansas Environmental Services meeting on the 10th last week, and I wanted to get this in the minutes so people in Brown County know. There's $75,000 available in state cost share funding for failing septic systems. In Brown County, well, in our district, in the 5 counties there, and it's first come, first served. So if a person has an issue with their septic system, and they want to explore that, reach out to the Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, their offices in Troy. And then we'll go from there. There's also, well, we just went through the business of it and discussed that they get more, I guess, they have more interactions with people yearly. Their budget continues to grow, but modestly, and actually have done a pretty good job trying to partner with the state to get money to actually fix some things. So they are not the sewer police. They are not looking for problems. However, if there are problems, her job is to rent. They also have a program with Kansas Department of Health and Environment with illegal dumping. And it's possible we can have him come to a meeting. That's something we can partner with the state on. Blighted areas, or, I mean, even homes or empty lots with trash, and the state will actually pick up around 75% of the cost to dispose of that waste with the landowner permission.
Now, if the landowner doesn't give permission or the homeowner doesn't give permission after the guy comes in, then you can enforce it. So it may not be a really one of them down. It is there. And if you want more information, I took a picture of that guy's business card. So that's all I have to say about that. We got a couple more minutes. I'm gonna be gone. This is for information. I'm gonna be gone and unavailable on August 4th. Be on an airplane when the meeting is going, so kind of kick that around in your heads. I'm not sure what we do there if we, I'm totally comfortable if you want to have a meeting without me. If you need to reschedule or just put that in your brains. And then the last thing I have, we got 1 minute, is 2 weeks ago, we had an issue on the holiday on June 19th, on Juneteenth, where we had 4 turnarounds with the oil trucks. So I called and talked to Adam, and it was a miscommunication and really couldn't point your finger to anybody doing anything wrong. Just one of those things that happened. So he did charge us for the return freight, which amounted to about $2,000, which is significant, but he didn't charge us their normal 20% tunneling fee. And so if that would have been our fault, they could have put us with 20% of the total, which those things are about $12,000 a load. So that could have been, what is that, $10,000 basically?
20%.
20% of 50,000.
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah. So it could have been, it was bad, but it could have been much worse. So I think he worked with us and I was satisfied and he was real good on the phone. So any questions on that? Okay, he said he expected a phone call, so I'm glad I did it. And it's just, I mean, in business, that stuff just happens and we just got to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I feel very confident that they made some arrangements so that it wouldn't. So, okay, it's 8:30. We have an 8:30 and it's Mr. Ian Sheets. If you want to come on up? Sure. Good morning, everybody. I didn't make some space for you.
No, you're fine. So just to recap from where we were last week, had ended with me basically making an offer. And the consensus of the board was they wanted to do some more research on what the value of the land would be over the intervening time. Mr. Commissioner Heinen was good enough to send me an email with what his thoughts were, and I appreciate that and where that comes from. But really, last thing standing was I put it out there, and so kind of the ball is in your court. So I would be interested to hear your thoughts and see where we go from there.
Okay, so how do we do this? Last meeting, we had a motion at 2,500. No one seconded.
Correct.
Bill, are you willing to sell? And if so, at any price? Or what price? Because
So I got some questions for the commissioner.
All right.
Sure. So we do sell it. What are we going to do with the funds? We're just gonna spend them on holiday pay or whatever, or we're gonna invest them in it and,
You can stay with the landfill,
what?
stay with the landfill,
Stay to the landfill,
landfill in need.
but then are they going, so if you invested it, you could earn interest off it and have some interest coming in every year. I mean, it's kind of unexpected. We weren't planning, it wasn't in our budget to use the extra income coming in.
Sure.
So it looks to me like we ought to set it aside and have that as a reserve. Can you do that? Is that possible?
We can check with our auditor on, sure there's some policy restrictions on some of that, so we have to check with the auditor. I don't know.
that's okay. So your question is what would we do with some?
Right.
Yeah, more?
And, which question about, but I can get it written down. Go out there today and just go down your path. So how's it going to benefit to other people in the county? How's it going to benefit the buyer? All those things need to be considered, I think. I believe it benefit shooters and anybody and so.
I think we talked about before, this by statute, if it's, the value does not exceed 50,000, I think Steve, had a appraised value below 50,000. Have to take a finding that property no longer required, or would not prudently be used for public purposes for the county. And you have to make it unanimous, so once you did that, you would give notice of that, of your intent to sell. We'll publish that twice, and then include time, place, and conditions of the sale and disposition, so it does take a unanimous vote.
So after you publish it, then you publish the price we sold it for, or
Yeah, the means of sale would be, we refer to it as, arm's length, one-on-one sale with the deed sheets. And the disposition of that should include conditions of sale and future profits.
And so there's public notice of it.
Yeah, public notice.
Before it's
So-
finalized.
And it's different, if it's over 50, then you do it by, auction basically, but since it's under 50, you don't have.
so.
So public purpose doctrine is what they call it, and you have to make a binding search public purpose, and public purpose here would be if it's no longer in use. Just to get it on the tax rolls, for somebody to use it, that would satisfy your public purpose doctrine.
So somebody protested, the attitude.
They come in, but it's up to you all, you gotta have a final decision, somebody can come in just under the public notice, just like anything else, and say, I don't think that's a good idea, and then you all will make that determination, at the time of that.
Then we have an opportunity to change it.
Yeah, the motion today would just be to issue the notice, of your intent to sell to Ian for such and such amount, that's what you decide, with the finding that it's no longer required and or cannot prudently be used for public purposes. Which I think you could make that finding based on what they described. So now it's just a policy decision by the commission whether you want to do that or not.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the whole issues in the past, that somebody brought up on restricted covenant, that's for, and I think you could explore that, but that would be something that we would be. I mean, I shouldn't use the word concern, but that's not going to affect us, that's gonna affect the buyer. Whether it's restricted covenant that runs with the land is going to affect buyer.
explain that.
So there's a restricted, last time when I think you came about a year or two ago.
Yeah, well, it was actually last fall.
Okay, last fall, and then I don't know, somebody brought up the fact that there's a restricted covenant that runs since it's part of the landfill and that it can only be used for certain purposes. And I think KDHE in the string of email to the land said that they did not believe that would apply since this area is not
Yeah.
presently being.
That's what this is.
permitted.
Did you see all the?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all,
I didn't know what, like, that water restricted building.
yeah.
It just a little context. It's defined as one parcel of land if you look at a plat map or something like that. And so they clarified that only the rectangle that is used currently with the north part is what's under that because of the disposal and so forth.
I didn't know if you meant water restricted building, that meant he was going to be restricted from trying to use the water.
Well, that's what somebody was concerned that might be
Concerned
the case, but that would be something for Ian to do, Paul, and he's already looked into that, but we wouldn't be making any assurances, we would just be basically doing a quick claim deed if you decide to do this.
And
But
then,
you've had it surveyed, I think. back-
No, I haven't yet.
You want to know if they're gonna
we-
do it before.
Yeah, exactly, because it'll probably be a couple $1,000.
Okay.
We now in, we've given an approximation.
Yeah,
And it would be them, squaring up officially what that looks like.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that the scope of the property in question has been pretty well defined.
Sure.
so then you paid through it, or clothing costs and stuff like that.
so what you would, I mean, my recommendation is if you made the motion, gave the notice, then the conditions of sale would be that Ian would pay the cost of any and clothing, since we're doing it by quick claim deed, the cost mainly are gonna be just the deed itself having a file, so, and there'd be a validation questionnaire. We would just have Ian responsible for getting a validation questionnaire and we've got deed file, so that should be both side. county counseling, I'm not an hourly rate or anything like that, so they're not your typical closing costs. We probably wouldn't use a closing agent because we wouldn't be doing title work or anything like that. That's something Ian can do if he decides to build a huge resort.
Yeah. So, and if I may add, in your initial email on the subject to it, you said that typically I would be responsible for the publication cost in the newspaper and so forth. So there's a slight expense to that. And then, as I've indicated from the beginning, and it probably would be your preference, we would incur the cost of the survey, which would be the largest cost. Because of the nature of the terrain, I would assume that it would be a little bit more expensive than if it was on some flat plain of land somewhere.
Surveys run good amounts of money.
Yeah, and so that's one of the factors, and honestly, that's why I have chosen to defer that until we knew where we're going to,
So today, if you decided to do this, I mean, it has to be unanimous and then the conditions. On the notice of when you would have that sale, we would want that survey. So we would have an accurate deed ready, so. What I'd recommend today is just, if you want to have a motion that it's no longer required and doesn't serve a public purpose and that, commission is interested in conveying this pursuant to statute, that at least would give Ian, some notice that you can go ahead and proceed with that survey, so get that on. And then you do your notice once the survey is ready, you have the actual notice published. You could have it part of the motion, you would refer the cost of the survey, the cost of the publication, the cost of filing the deed as part of that.
I guess what I suggested last week was 37.
All right. My question for you then, Kevin, would be, other than the value, trying to come up with an accurate value is, if we sell a plot of land, are we obligated in any way if someone else approaches us about, say they want the 10 acres on the east side? Are we obligated?
I mean, yeah,
I don't
that's-
want to open Pandora's.
No, that's a fair point. That has, I mean, it's more often with cities if this comes up. So somebody, with the city may have a city parcel that was used in the 1930s or something, and now somebody wants it for part of the business or something else. And yeah, undoubtedly, somebody may come in later and say, well, you sold it to, Johnny Smith for his thing, and now I kind of need this for mine, and it's just a case by case basis. So I mean, there's some property. This one, I think, may be a little different with some in that it's truly not being used, and it's something that could benefit, county citizen, whereas other parcels may not. So if the county owns like I'm trying to think like the, what is that place out by, Ag Partners with the, when, emergency services used to have stuff out there. Or what it was. Anyway, somebody could say, well, we would like to have that. It would just be it's always going to be governed by public purpose and whether it serves public purpose and whether we still need it or there's a reasonable foreseeable chance that we would need it in the near future. So yeah, I mean, it could open somebody up coming in, but it's always going to be a case by case determination.
So the lack of I just call it a sure tail appraisal, because I'm using some information from appraiser and then my own knowledge for reference on trying to get a price. If we come at a price here, then that's all the backup we need. We don't need
You don't need a formal full appraisal. So yeah, it just needs to be fair market. Fair market can earn by, I mean, in this case, that would be supportable if you have an appraiser that came up with it and your own personal knowledge.
Asking 100 questions because it's a big deal.
absolutely.
And selling land is something that I've done in the past and I've regretted it every time. And that's just the way it is, but I understand.
And I think I mentioned what I thought, I thought a little bit more would be out of line, but
So I said in my email, I said $5,000. And that was my number.
Okay.
And so you're saying 3778 or whatever, and you said 2,500.
If I may.
Go for it, you may.
So I recognize that. Other than Richard motion last time, that probably the consensus is that it would require a little bit more than what I offered before. And although I felt like we put our best foot forward, and I can pontificate about how I came up with my number, but I don't think that's necessary. It is very important to us, and we are willing to come to the table to some degree to try to find a medium ground. Between, you know, our starting spots, and I'm hoping that we can find a middle ground that would work for everybody. As I've mentioned in previous conversations, it's not necessarily going to be my favorite number. It might not necessarily be your favorite number, but is it a workable one that solves the problem? Is it pragmatic? And so that's what I'm hoping to accomplish. I did have a question, if I may, Mr. Hill. So Mr. Heinen actually shared the concept of a prescriptive easement. And I looked it up as well. I think 15 years was the number. My concern, so we've used it in practice for close to 30 years, which should give us a prescriptive easement, by my general understanding.
Yeah, it's a lot of times referred to as adverse possession. On
Squatters' rights is what I thought it was.
So the adverse possession, you can come in over, and typically it's if you, if there's a dispute on like a fence line or something like that, that's where you have that. So there are a lot, it's not just a straight black and white. I mean, there's cases where, I mean, I've been involved in an adverse possession lawsuit years ago in Elwood. Probably a year out of law school, and when we took adverse possession of property class, professor always said, "Oh, you'll never see one of these." Year out of law school, I'm involved in one, and it's a week-long trial. So I mean, I can't give you the answer on that. There are prescription by easement. It has a lot of requirements, so without having facts in front of me, I really can't give a legal opinion on whether.
Yeah, of course. Well, and where that was sort of to set up my follow-up question is that the concern, you know, if we have sort of a de facto, you know, way to get down there, which was originally where we started. The question is, so it's still in my grandma's name. It's going to be deeded to my brother and I when she passes. Does that clock start over if there is a prescriptive?
And I couldn't give you advice.
Yeah, well, and so I looked it up, and you know, just like looking up your own diagnosis, to look up your own legal stuff, right? But there was a term easement by appurtenant.
By necessity.
Well, there's that, but there was an easement appurtenant, which basically said that the benefiting party that's transferable when the land sells. So is that a term that you're familiar with?
I am,
But
yeah, I
you
mean,
wouldn't want to
I
comment
think
on
for
that?
everybody's purposes, if the sale can take place, it's gonna be a lot cleaner.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And so, yeah, I just wondered as a backup, are we still okay if we can? But yes, absolutely, my priority and my desire would be to.
So what you want to know is if we can't come to terms,
Right.
do you still have access to your land?
Correct,
Basically.
right.
And does the easement that you've had or your grandma had, does it transfer over to you? When
It's
the
a very
title, when the
concise way to
title of the
But
land.
most easements do,
Mhm.
yeah, without those.
So our intent or my intent, I'll speak for me, is not to deny you or try to choke you out of access to the land.
Sure.
It's just trying to do this the right way.
And-
I did email you and say, you know, the county or I would offer an easement, but that's, if I understand, and I do understand you would do that, but only if that's the last option.
Correct,
All right.
correct.
So you want to buy this 5 acres. We are out of time, but because you're next on the agenda, what's this do to your schedule?
Honestly, yeah, I think for today, what Ian probably needs to know is that there is interest from the commission to proceed, that there's interest in conveying it. And then he'll know whether it's something he can get started on his.
Do we need to work on negotiations for price? Do
Yeah,
we
you'll
do
need to
that?
come up with the price.
Do we do that in open session? Or
Yeah, yeah.
It's all in open session, so I guess would the preference be to do it now then? To
Sure.
get after it, okay.
Sure, if you can afford the time to do so.
I'm just asking him out of
Yeah,
respect.
I'm
Trying to stick to the agenda, but
Yeah,
I'm not trying to run.
No,
over.
I know, I
I'll just
understand.
look past you.
Depends on if Don needs a half hour for his, because we're gonna be full for 9:30, 11.
Yeah, we've got, okay.
I would plan to be for your budget discussion.
And I'll do my best to be quiet and concise.
Well, okay, so it's pretty easy. We all our numbers are on the table, so.
Right, okay, so I guess my. Request was that, can we find some middle ground, if you wanna take the, granted, Richard and I are essentially on the same page, is there. A happy medium between there that we could come up with as a negotiable price?
I'm
Yeah,
not-
yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
just being rude here.
No.
I got some appraisals from a guy, and it's similar land, it's in Jackson and Brown County.
Uh-huh.
But it's, I'm gonna call that recreational land.
Okay.
And so I think any number, in my mind, any number. I agree, just make sure that I don't speak out of turn. And I appreciate you asking Kevin about that prescriptive easement, because, I'm not an attorney.
No,
That's just
no.
what a guy
It
said.
just seemed like a good time to clarify on that.
Yeah, and I want to clarify too, that it's not our intent to deny access to. So I keep seeing land in this rec category, and I can email this to you, but if you want to get it done today, it's not going to help you much. It's 48, 45, 56, 57. And some of it's just straight trees and a 30-acre chunk. Some of it's pasture land with some trees. It's just pasture or recreational land. And this is the disconnect here, because I don't want to get deep in your pockets, because in all reality, at the scale we find ourselves in, it's a big transaction to you, but for
Right.
what the county's trying to do, it runs us for about 2 hours,
Mhm.
but I feel my conflict is I want to sell you land that's fair market value.
Right,
So if we get in this situation again, we do the same thing.
sure, I understand precedent very well. And so I, starting, and this is, I guess, where I'm gonna explain where I came from. You've got your figures there. Sure, starting with the comp that was actually a comp and not row crop grant, that was provided there. Which granted is 4 years old, but with the price that I came at was a 40% increase over that. However, at $5,000, like you had mentioned, or even 45, I have a hard time believing that the value of it has tripled in 3 or 4 years, which is what kind of factor we would be in between. I think it'd be 2.7. But the current tenant that actually lives on the property thought that my offer was actually very fair. Local cattlemen that also make hay thought that actually it was probably excessive for around here. One in general that lives just north of town said that 2035 was the typical range for pasture land in Brown County, and he said this should be on the lower end of that because of the trees and so forth. So those are the places, and by the way, the assessment for ag land in Brown County went down, or at least in the school district went down 11%.
Use value,
What's that?
the use value, not the.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's assessed.
Not the selling price.
Yeah, right. And so with that starting point, again, I think that where I'm at is fair, I think, and I know that Mr. Heinen believes that where he's at is fair. And so my question is then, can we come together somewhere in the middle? And so I'm willing to come up a little, obviously, like you said, it's not a big deal to Brown County for the dollars. It is, of course, for the precedent. I would certainly encourage you, if there's any piece of land that is landlocking someone from their property, to be to work with them to the same extent that you would work with me. I don't think there's probably a lot of circumstances that are the same, but there may be. And if there was, I would think the precedent of trying to do right by the citizen would probably take precedent over getting the maximum value out of it. And I realize you're not saying maximum value, but fair value. And so with those pieces in mind, I would say, can we come together between 5,000 and 2,500? You had a number somewhere in the middle. And so my question is, are you willing to find a happy medium, for lack of a better term, that gets it done?
Are you saying 37.50 then?
Well, that's what, I mean, that would be halfway in between. I would prefer, of course, to be a little lower than that. But yes, if you wanted to average those two values, then that's what that would.
But I was thinking the other day, 45 was what, pretty nice, I mean,
Yeah.
that was what. I ended up paying for that.
Right.
That was appraised at that 37 something like that. And I thought, well, if I had an opportunity to buy that piece, I wouldn't hesitate too much to pay that much. I mean, even though it's not next door.
Right.
Since you guys have other stuff on, I see Dom's here, is there anything more you need Ian, and you guys can let him know maybe, if you have a little time in between all the other. Discussions on, unless you're ready to say now that you're okay in that 37.
We don't have a consensus on.
Well, I mean, nobody's really actually spoken up to say what if they would, if they would be willing to find that medium, and if so, what does that look like?
So. And we need to come back to this first. I don't know, but you have some, you.
You guys asked me to come in, yeah, I mean, I don't want to give all that time up if you were needing, I was just asked to come and be on your agenda. So,
We asked him.
He's asking us for middle ground. Are you a willing seller at 30? Just say 3,800, 3,750. If it has to be unanimous. And no, not all the pressure on you. I'm just asking.
I'd like to see it at 4 at least, but I could.
You're not wrong. Do whatever you think,
Right.
because you gotta be able to sleep at night with the decision you make. It's an unusual situation.
I would prefer 4, but
So let me formalize it a little bit. My offer would be, I guess, we'll split the difference completely and do 3750 plus the cost incurred.
and that's not.
And can you negotiate to that point and live with it?
There be fencing or anything.
Pretty sure. They're like a couple.
You're willing seller, 37. A reluctant willing seller.
I'm always reluctant.
Yeah,
And I'm reluctant too, but in the interest of doing it, I'll be a willing seller at 3750.
thank you.
And so. Rich, you made the motion before we did say, are you a willing seller at 3750? You want to make the motion? And describe our motion.
yeah, your motion is that, the described property is no longer. Required for county purposes, and that the county is willing to, sell it to, Ian Sheets at 3750. On condition that he have it surveyed, and that it's subject to the notice requirements in KSA 19-211.
I will make that one motion for the at 3750.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Seeing that he's doing all the survey and all that stuff.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. There you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sorry it took 15 minutes longer.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and seeing it through.
All right.
Thank you. If I just, would you let me know what I need to do then from this point forward? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, gentlemen. Have a
You
good
bet.
day.
You bet. Okay, the next is the 9 o'clock here. We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think you have me on the.
Can you do it in 3 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
I'm
you
sorry
do,
that took
you
long.
could Maybe push it on a little past his too. then.
Well, he's got things to do.
I don't know if she has 30. He's fine, he's fine. Okay.
You're fine waiting.
Yes.
All right. I guess this time is for Mr. Hill and we asked him, I guess maybe I asked him, time gets by to come here and to be quite honest, I think I was just gonna ask you, or do you have anything you want to say? Or I mean, this is totally us asking you.
I can, after I hear what you all have to say. I'll-
Okay, well then I'll just take over and it comes from a budget side. And this is I guess a commissioner to elected official question with some hybrid stuff in there because you play 2 roles. I mean, you're our county counselor, which. I mean, we understand the differences, but the offices are separate, but they run, yeah. So, the budgeting side of this is your pay increase was, you asked for a pay increase in your budget that was substantial.
Well, in a sense, the budget, there was an increase. What I had mentioned is that you know, and compared it to Nemaha and Marshall and Washington counties and the numbers, so. In Nemaha, they have a separate person that does county counseling. What a lot of people don't realize, county counseling includes family and care cases, which are extremely important, cases where, you know, at-risk children. They include up to termination of parental right hearings, which are lengthy and involved and complex, so that's technically part of county counseling. And so a lot of places have divided that, taken that from county counseling and signed that over to county attorney, because it fits better within the county attorney role. County attorney role right now is prosecution of criminal, traffic and, juvenile offender type cases. And so those were assigned over, in those counties. And so my proposal was that, especially if this is, possibly a last term for me, is that if you're wanting to have people interested in this position, they would not be interested in it. It's the consensus I'm hearing with all three roles of county counseling, advising the county commission, and advising all the county offices and everything else on top of county counseling or the child and care cases, because most counties pay at least what you're paying for the whole county counseling just for child and care cases. So right now we pay the guardian ad litem, whose role isn't as large as the prosecutor on that type of case, and I think over 30 on child and care cases. So my proposal was that you pay at the 40,840 or 42 maybe for the sync role, and then have an additional amount for county counseling, which you could hire outside counsel, similar to what Nemaha County does. So Nemaha County is paying their county attorney 40 to handle the same cases, plus his county attorney salary, with no county counseling responsibilities. And then they hire an outfit from, I think, Kansas City. I think it's 55,000 base pay plus mileage. So, and then there's an amount extra for tax sales. So the approximation was that they're paying about 70 for that. And so I wasn't necessarily asking for that for me. I was asking for my office to have that. I would be more interested, honestly, with timeframes doing the county attorney as I've done, and then the county sync cases. So that's, as I've explained in my email to all of you, I mean, that's kind of my specialty area. I've been recognized by state agencies as one of the top child abuse prosecutors and child abduct prosecutors in the state. I've been asked to do trainings. That's near and dear, and that's kind of a calling to me. It's why I do this job for a lot less than I could do in the private sectors, because that I have a passion for working with those type of cases. So what my interest would be is continue, obviously, as county attorney that was elected to, and have the sync cases similar to what Nemaha County has done. And then in support of that, I kind of sent you guys a summary. I think all of you got that. Our caseloads compared to Nemaha, Marshall, and Washington. In 2024, criminal, I had 222 cases. Nemaha only had 70. Marshall only had 122. Washington only had 48. And top that off with search warrants. I get called for every search warrant to review and approve. We had 94. And when you look at the sync cases, our numbers are significantly higher than all the other of those counties on sync cases as well. So
Okay.
I think it's justifiable what we
Okay.
asking for here. So not necessarily asking for a salary increase for me, but definitely would not be a decrease if you decide to contract with that outside entity for county council.
So, and that's, you know, I called you about that last week, just
Yeah.
the idea. So did you guys get the email that he's referencing with the caseload? That's something I asked for, and he said,
Yeah, that's what I did.
okay.
Oh,
Oh, you did get it. Okay, right on. All right, so my question, and this is the part of this job that I'm laboring intensely not to make it political. And I don't want to be political. I don't want to ever put a guy on the spot, and I'm not trying to do that on purpose anyway. So my question to you, Mr. Hill, is then, so like the tax sale, that's a pretty big issue with people in the county. We haven't had one in quite a while. You've described it to me, and it's a laborious process with lots of hoops that you jump through, some of which I understand, most of which I'm not confess. but it's a big deal. We've got a lot of delinquent properties with quite a bit of money on the table. So the sink cases, when I say Kevin Hill, I totally get the message you're sending, that you come highly regarded. Sink is where it's at. I mean, people are impressed with what you do. So I applaud you for that, because that's probably not I guess that's not a field that the average person could probably endure for very long. I would imagine you've seen some things and heard some things that are just unpleasant,
Yeah.
very unpleasant. It would be similar like an oncology nurse or something. You just see all this stuff that's too. Okay. So then.
And the tax sales, I will say, I mean, compared to our neighboring counties, we've had more, those often, than they have. I mean, if you went back through my tenure, we've had it more frequently, but they're expensive. A lot of it's not dependent on my office. We depend on, we have to use title company to do
Sure.
title work, and that's a tremendous amount of time.
I've reached out to a firm in Wichita that does this I mean, they do it on a commission basis, a fee basis, and it was described to me that the process is complex, but if that's your wheelhouse, then you can actually burn.
I'm more than happy if somebody else, because I have one staff and, top of all of the sink criminal
Sure,
discovery, she's having to manage, looking at service process on over 100 and some defendants. So
right.
this one's well on its way, but somebody will step in and that's.
Okay,
yeah,
so then from
I'm not.
the public point of view, then, if Kevin Hill is our county prosecutor, but he's no longer doing tax sales, how do I sell them on, well, we're paying him the same, but he's actually has less duties? That's just a question for you, and I mean, I figure it's one you anticipated.
Yeah.
So,
And so the answer to that is, all you have to do is look at neighboring counties. I mean, right now Marshall County is paying, for county attorney for criminal and the sink, they are paying $168,000 just for the criminal, the sink, traffic, et cetera. So it's 168 and no county council responsibilities. They're paying their county councilor 40,000 plus 8,000 for the tax sales. So they're paying county councilor 48,000 with no sink responsibilities. Nemaha, and again, Marshall County's numbers, criminal cases 2024, 122 to our 222. And then their sink cases, I sent those earlier. I don't have that in front of me, but their sink cases are well under. I mean, we have as much as all of those combined, for a number of reasons, but, their sink cases are nowhere near the numbers we have. Nemaha County is paying 120,000, for criminal and sink, no county counseling responsibilities, and their county counselor is getting approximately 70,000. Jackson County is well into almost 300,000 for this county attorney and sink. We've had more sink cases than them. So in Washington County is paying $180,000 for a county attorney and sink, and then they do have county counseling responsibility. So even Washington County with 48 criminal cases compared to our 222 is paying 180,000. So yeah, and the answer to that is you're paying, still going to be paying less than other counties, and people aren't busting the door down for this job. So I mean, if you're wanting somebody to run 2 years, 3 years, they're going to compare Nemaha, Marshall, Jackson, Washington, and we're going to be last on the list.
So the devil's advocate says, well, why wouldn't we deal with that in 3 years when it's time?
That'd be too late.
Well, in 2 years when it's time,
What's that?
or in 2 years when it's time.
And it'll be too late at that point in time, because your pool of eligible attorneys is pretty there.
Yeah.
And you've got me, the local attorneys without knowing your name, one will probably be retired here in the next year or so, and the other makes well over what is being paid, is doing private stuff.
So, and you understand also that, and one of the things, the hard part about being back here is we often get salary discussions based on what other counties are paying. So we look at that, but when I factor in Brown County's precarious budget situation and the tax increase that is, I mean, coming, unless we bend like we have spines of rubber, it's coming. And so I have to, We just have to compare ourselves to Brown County, and if Brown County can only do so much.
I understand that in some sense, but you know, when our sheriff has come in the past, and compared. And if you look at the increase in budget for that, and I'm not saying they deserve it, they work hard, so I'm not saying that, but it has been justified for his office.
Sure.
Going up, 160,000 last year, 80,000, whatever it is this year that's being proposed, so. That is relevant when it comes into public safety type job, which
No, that's a fair.
my job is public safety
And
related.
the response would probably be, would be as 35 and 52 dollars.
Sure, no, in essence, though, that increase in crime, increase in St. cases has justified that. But those don't exist in the back end, those come through my office and then comes through our court system as well, so. I think if somebody's questioning that, it's easy to answer, and that is, that's public safety, we don't wanna skimp on public safety, so our child need care cases are the least understood because they're confidential hearings, but we have more than much larger counties for a multitude of reasons. I know Bill's asked about, there's a lot of reasons. I'm not gonna get into those because I'm not a sociologist, but I just deal with the reality, and the reality is we have more sinks than probably Nemaha, Marshall, and Donovan combined. Those serve somebody that's doing important work, so. Yeah, and I think for my budget, you could actually separate out county counselor, put it under commissioner's budget, like I think Nemaha has done that, haven't they? I think Nemaha has, put the county counselor under that, so, that's something.
And that's just good, since we're having these discussions, will you be able to come back sometime with your budget so we can go through that item by item? Because that's a question I had for you. If there was another change in there, I think it was $25,000 for appeals,
Yeah.
and we used to pay that out of the diversion fund, is that right?
Well, we paid some out of that. Technically, it's supposed to come out of the general fund, the county commissioners fund.
So there were some changes year over.
I mean, I'd be happy to fit it, because by statute, it comes out of the commissioner's fund. I've just always taken it out of my budget, but when Lloyd came in and said, well, we need to have what you're actually spending in your budget, that's why we put those in the budget, but okay, I'd be more than happy to fit that.
No, that's great, that's why you made that change, because Scott Lloyd.
Yeah, that's why that's in there. That's what we've been spending kind of would be coming out of different funds.
Okay.
I still could take them out of capital improvement funds just to ease the transition, but those are what we've been paying, and it's technically a commission.
It's a bill that gets paid one way or the other.
Yeah.
You just changed,
I just changed where it's coming out.
it was a procedural thing,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah,
I guess my ask to you is, so this today was just informational. I wanted to tell you that we were gonna have this other guy,
Sure.
I mean, potentially for county. authority,
sure,
but not C.
yeah,
And so, and I wanted to hear what you had to say. You've answered every question, but we do have this budget stuff, and I know you're busy. Can we get you on the schedule? I mean, not today, of course, but maybe for the next round or the round following.
yeah, I'd be
Actually
happy
go
to have
through
it. I
it.
mean, it'd be similar to the information I've given you, but
Well, except I want to look at this budget and I want to go through it, and I want to
Okay.
make sure we're on the same page, because in the past, I think the commission has made changes. And people over here don't feel like they had any
sure.
input in it.
No, I appreciate
And
that.
so we're trying to avoid.
Sure, we can do that.
So is there any other, I mean, I command it all the time. Bill, you got something?
Still got my same question, Harley. So I've got a problem. We need to try to solve it. We got that many more cases than everybody else. Either. There's something that's different. So. And I kind of asked the judge this back in January, but he didn't have time to answer it, go into it. But what needs to change in the county to get this correct?
Man, it's a societal issue.
So how can we change our?
And, if I had to answer that, then I could cure all the illness in the state, the country. I mean, I just deal, just like the sheriff, we just deal with the reality. I mean, why do people take methamphetamine when it's addictive and destroys lives? I wish I could tell you the answer to that. Why do we have people that abuse and neglect their children? There's a lot of reasons for that, but it's not something I can answer to that part of it. So.
What I think he's adding, Marshall County's 9,000, Brown County 9,000. Give or
Mhm.
there has to be something, and we're asking on you because you swim in this every day. there has to be a difference between Brown County and Marshall. It's sociological, but what is the draw to Brown County for all of this? I mean, it's just nasty. What makes the difference? You know, what, is there something in the system which is bringing, which is a draw to people that come in here that we need to change?
Yeah, all I can say is I just deal with the reality of the situation and
Sure.
the cause. It's gonna be beyond, I mean, I'm not equipped to deal with necessarily the causes. I think law enforcement is probably better, able to deal with causes. I deal with the aftermath and try to resolve and protect children from being in these environments, and so that's kind of what I do.
So when I drive down the street in Hiawatha, I just see some houses, that guy mows his yard, he puts his flag up, looks great, that house is a dump, you know, that's the honest assessment. And the sheriff drives through there, because he lives in this environment, he's like, that's a great house, that's a drug house, those, that beats his wife, I mean, not little thing.
Yeah.
Because he's in that environment every day, and that's what I was hoping that y'all were.
Yeah, people would be shocked to know what happens in our county as far as, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many termination hearings I've been involved in. It's sad that it's necessary cases to protect these kids. And Rich probably knows better than any of us as far as from a pastor standpoint, working with sheriff's office, what has led to some of this. It's breakdown in the family units. It's a breakdown in you know, in my mind and people's faiths, and there are just a multitude of reasons, but we could all write books and make a lot of money. if we
It's
could
philosophical, but we
Yeah.
only get so many times to answer,
Sure.
ask some questions. So I'm done. If we could put you on the schedule for
Sure.
your convenience sometime in next week or, you know, next meeting or so.
Okay.
Go through the budget, that'd be wonderful. So is there any more questions for me? Okay. I thank you for, nope.
I got, so I wrote up a deal back in January when I was talking about security. And I was.
Everybody?
Yeah, and. That's my thoughts, what could be done. I know, maybe we can't control that. I mean, we can't control what the schools teach, but it really goes back to what people do, but and how they view things, how they act. Do you control your body, or is it are they God's control, or whatever? And I know that's kind of. But I know in the past, we didn't have all these problems. We didn't have drug problems when I was growing up, a lot of stuff. And what, to me, what's changed in society is what we're teaching our kids. I don't. So, anyway, you can take that for what it's worth to us.
All right.
That's my thoughts.
Well, thanks for sharing. We got this, and I've read it and I'll read it again. It's,
I think I can already give feelings.
well, earlier, yeah, but I've
But
had a lot of.
But still, I think that's, and to me, it's kind of up to the judges and the attorneys to make sure that everything's working good in the county.
We're looking for ways as commissioners to combat this stuff, not enable it, and we need to know if there's policies that we have influence over at this desk that we can make things better. And it sounds hokey dokey here, but it's a real concern. If we're doing something that enables this kind of behavior or funds it in some way, I want to stop it. And
From the county, or the county's not doing anything that's funding it, and I will, as far as Bill, up to the judge and attorney, we can only do what the law allows us to do, so the judges are governed by sentencing guidelines, as am I, and so. You know, we have sentencing guidelines for people who like to say they're tough on crime, but it was passed by legislature that, you know, you could have 300 theft convictions on your record, and you still presumptive probation. So I mean, if people want to be tough on crime, and yet they don't want to fund corrections, and so it takes some time. You know, we're restricted by statute on people like, why are these people getting probations when we have sentencing guidelines that require probation, except for in our first felony cases. So I mean, I'm known as an aggressive prosecutor, and we're known as proactive. We work with law enforcement. And so when we have sentencings, those are governed by sentencing guidelines. And so
which are a range.
there are a range of sentencings and dispositions, and the dispositions presumptive probation unless it's a first felony in a higher level. So that's why those are, they're restricted a lot on what they can do. When I first started, any felony conviction could go to prison by first year 93. And then they changed that July 1 of 93 to the guidelines. That's why we have what we have.
Okay.
So that's part of the problem.
Yeah, oh, I think so, yeah. I'd much prefer our old system with the indeterminate, so.
So as good as this has been, I mean, really, in the interest of time and Mr. Powell's schedule and everybody else coming down the line. I appreciate your time, willingness to
Sure,
answer
sure.
questions, kind of put you on the spot. I'm glad you were here today too. And that's the part of our relationship that, you know, kind of goes unnoticed is when we go through a real estate transfer, we need the expertise of an attorney because none of us are, except for you. So we're glad you're here. So with that, if it's all right, can we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. We're incredibly late, but next on our schedule was Dawn Pam. So.
Yes.
Under what pretense? Yes.
Personnel.
Okay, well, I make, Don, how
I'm
much?
going to do this closure one first.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, sure, if you got time.
Yeah, we.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You look at this-
Landfill closure.
This financial assurance. Is that what you're talking about?
Right, for the closure of the landfill. right?
Just in case.
Yeah,
Might want, if you're planning an executive, I'd probably do that since you have others on for 9:30.
okay.
And then maybe that way you can take care of that portion of it first. Maybe on the non-elected, they want you to designate what, like if it's, pay, discipline, whatever it is as part of it.
Okay.
Evaluation, those are.
How much time? 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, I make a motion to go into executive session with the three commissioners, with the county councilor, that's all right.
Yeah,
And county clerk to discuss employee performance at the landfill
under non-elected.
under non-elected personnel. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, very good. 10 minutes. It's 9:20. Dead microphone. Okay, we're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken. And with that, I guess we thank you for coming in and we'll,
What, the closure thing was on the agenda.
let's do that. If we-
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Do we have a few minutes?
Yeah, I think sure.
Okay, all right. Let me get back to it. And we're looking at this landfill. It's there somewhere. Oh, right there. It's its own item on the side. KDHE documents. Okay, so this landfill, financial assurance requirements. And this is something with the state that requires us, to the best of my understanding, requires us to have funds available for the, in case that landfill's closed, that we monitor it, the environmental conditions, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is brand new territory for us. Can you explain this into a way that makes it? Or do you guys have any questions for him or go ahead?
I can tell you what I understand, and I got the same thing that you did. It said this is a brand new requirement this year. So it's never had to happen before since. So BG Consultants are the ones that are our engineers for out there at the landfill. And every year they do a closure cost estimate. So we have that, what it's going to cost. For the building itself up there, the tipping floor, it's $5,000 to close that down. That includes cleaning it, pumping the tank out, hauling off 2 days worth of trash. Okay, so that's 5,000. I don't think you'd have problems, saying, okay, we can come up with that. To do the rest of the landfill. And I printed this off. It's really hard to read. I think it's 239,000. Okay, most of that, and it's detailed in this, most of it is dirt work. Because they want it covered with so much dirt and graded the whole thing and then seeded down. In my opinion, you don't have to say that you're gonna pay out that 239,000. Because can't you have employees of the county do that dirt work grading? You're gonna have 4 landfill employees that are capable of running equipment. So right there, you already have employees there. The dirt's there. You don't have to haul it in from outside. Or you have to buy grass seed to cover it with.
Our dirt meets the clay on on-site specs.
I don't know.
Okay,
But we can, with the employees we've got and, I still go back to, we got road and bridge that should be able to supplement this. At that point, it's not part of the landfill being self-sufficient. It's the county's expense to close it down.
It looked to me like a lot of what I read, it didn't apply to us because we don't keep the trash here and it doesn't, you don't have those tubes or whatever going through it.
Okay, it does apply because,
The part of it does, but whatever I was reading, I can't find it.
it's different statute.
But they were talking about closing like Perry down.
right, okay.
And that's been what we got, right?
That's not, but that's why they did this detailed estimate. And they go, here's what you do have, and this is what it's gonna cost. You've got so many acres that's already closed, which is 6.6 acres. You have another 25.4 that's open that you're going to need to contour and cover with grass seed. And that is this 239,000. So this is the detail, but most of that is labor. So.
You have recommendation then for the, based off what they said to you? For the commission?
My recommendation is to reply that you're going to use county labor to offset the majority of this cost.
Okay,
And the grass seed and stuff, you're gonna have to pay for that, but that'll be minimal. And they've got this broke down onto what it should cost for each area. But
okay.
the majority of it's labor.
And my understanding, if I read this correctly, was that we just had to have funds, say in the general fund, an excess that we could allocate towards these costs.
That's
that
my
right?
understanding.
I think so. Okay. We all nod our head in approval here. All right. Well, that's fine. Do we need to suggest that and then await their response to see if that's workable? That's how this would,
That's the way I would go after it.
all right. All right. So I see a $235,000 figure plus does that include the transfer station, the actual building, or is that on in addition?
That's an addition.
So there's your 239,000, give or take. And then we see different headings or subheadings. And yeah, grass seed, professional services and some engineering. There's some administration and contingency, but the rest of it is the protective soil and vegetative layer and low permeability soil layer. So that's the construction side of it. You could actually make that an argument that 181,000 of that it could actually be taken care of through county labor
Yes,
whenever it existing county labor and equipment,
yes,
if this ever happened.
yes.
That make sense? It does now. I mean, okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hill, does that make sense to you?
Sounds good to me.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to write Mr. Hyman. And we're gonna, is that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, right on.
Okay.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Your workup that the B and G does, is that different than that what you have there?
I asked that again, please.
The B and G has a recommendation on closing the landfill. Is that the same as this or? is
Yes,
That's their-
this is from their report that they send to me every year.
that- Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
So did we need to make a motion to have, or she's just gonna send that? Let's see if it works, and then we'll make a motion.
Yeah, probably. Say.
I wouldn't say I think. So it was today. Good job, everyone. Okay. All right, I am sorry, we're a little behind schedule. Nikki, are you ready to advance here? Okay, all right. Nellie, we have you on the list and my apologies for being a little late here. But if you would you come up? And just to clearly communicate what we're doing here, and we're gonna get our papers all in front of us. We had our preliminary budget proposals and a little bit of discussion. And the county has. We went through all our numbers, looking at our budget. And so we're coming to department heads looking for ways that we can. I guess be more efficient. If there's any way we can cut, because we're posting a 9 mil increase over last year. Which a mill is 229,000. So we're gonna pull in quite a bit more money because we've spent more than we've taken in for the last several years. So it's a team effort and we're all on the same ship here. And so I'm asking you for ideas and suggestions for anything we can do.
Oh, I'm holding my breath to try to even keep mine going the way it is, so I just don't see. The big thing that you can see on my summary page, the biggest is the salary, and I think that's in most cases. Another 6,500 to play with on it, that's running the office, phones and everything. I just don't know.
So we've
Right
been,
now, I'm 50%, like, when every month they give us a sheet to
Sure.
show where we are percentage and.
Mhm.
And I'm in there same with, the other offices, so I'm at least keeping it. I was afraid I'd be lower than that. Because you guys cut it some last year. My budget.
Okay.
I mean, I got my wages, okay, but the rest of the stuff was cut, and so.
did you pull some out of capital improvement last year? You did, okay. That seems to be where we get a little confused, is people pull some stuff out. Okay,
And I don't have much in capital improvement now.
I see 40, no, excuse me. I had the wrong number. Where are you? 12,605, I'm sorry.
Do I have that?
That's what it says on my sheet as of whenever the sheet was put out. So 12,605. Sorry, I couldn't find you on the list there. So we've made a pretty square decision as a commission that we're not going to do anything with salaries this year. So like salary raises, we just don't feel like that can happen. So just person to person here, I want to tell you that, so you're not caught off guard. So, and you're here as the Register of Deeds. And in fact, our consultant, Mr. Lloyd, says, don't mess with the Register of Deeds because historically, and in his observation, they don't really spend much money. And there's not probably much opportunity, but if there is, we're asking you what it would be.
I will say this much, I will do my due diligence and not to try to, but I haven't, and I don't feel like I've done anything.
You're not in trouble. Yeah, at least not with me. So this is really what we're trying to do here. It's whether it feels like it or not, it's a team thing. And you, everyone that works here, us, and everyone that votes outside, all the taxpayers, we all got to come together with a way to make this thing float, if the ship's the analogy. And so we're just trying to throw off a little extra weight.
Well, when I had my other meeting with you, I was pointing out, like, when I take my trips, I mean, I try to carpool the majority of the time
Sure.
when it works.
Sure.
And same way with my motel, splitting it with another person, which you don't find that in too many counties that would want to do that. So I at least try to keep your price down in that area. What else? What else I can do? I mean, only spending what's running the office.
Okay. Do we have are you looking at, I've got this paper copy of what we did with our adjustment. Where's that show up on yours?
I don't know. I don't have Dustin. Unless it was in the last meeting's game.
I'm looking over your shoulder here. I'm just, this is what I have. 528. I just filled it in.
Yeah, that's the one I have. That's the one that's listed in with our budgets. Everybody else's budget, you have what's the date on it? You have the budget figures and here, we don't have the final figures.
Yeah, there's one printed on the 25th of June. That bill has. You got a busy day ahead of you?
Oh, I hope not too bad. It's Monday. We're cutting several things out of the way already, so we'll see.
Okay.
The rest of it.
Okay, well, I have in pencil and you have in final that we changed the commissioner's adjustment. We took a little over $4,000 off. You had asked for 116,181. We had a final of 112. So I told you we weren't going to increase salaries this year, so that changed it. From a 109,601 is what you asked to the. That took. I see. That changes that number to 107,472. So that's a little less than half the adjustment. Did we pull some stuff out of? We're gonna have to pull out capital improvement. Does anyone remember? Anyway, that's what we did. So that's where we are.
It's 2,000, so there must be 2,000 less here.
Yeah.
Because there's 4,000 difference there.
What we told her last year. We asked if they could, we run into it with, cut you like, said 2,500, asked you to use $2,500 out of capital if you need it for this year. At the end of this year, we took that off of yours budget last year. We were pretty good. You had 12 there.
Fine.
I don't have that.
Okay, Bill, you got any? All right, well, this is all we wanted to do and just tell you where we were, ask for suggestions. And we didn't really do much here, but that's fine because you don't really have a lot of line items on your budget request. So
Think you can live with that?
What's that now?
Think you can live with that?
Well, we will sure try, yeah. Appreciate
okay, right on.
not slicing it, no,
Let me go backwards.
it hurts not having the salary increase.
Sure. No, we appreciate that. And thank you for coming in. If you got any questions, we're here. So. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for being the first person in line.
Yeah, it's not easy for you guys either, I understand. Thank you.
I gotta you call for a Thank you. I was not slow. Wanda, you're next. If you'd like to come up, when Rich gets back, we'll just get started. No, it's quiet in here when you start to hear the lights humming, you know. Um. Is it all right if I call you Wanda, I guess? Okay, I just want to be sure. So I'm going to ask a favor of you, and that is, we had inaccurate information when we did this the first time. And we had since found out about more questions about that. So I don't have the right numbers in front of me. is there a way we could get you on the schedule maybe for the week following to do this same thing? Would that be possible at all?
I'll be gone next,
What about the Monday after?
you know, what do you mean by that?
So do you remember we talked about the county in 2011 or 12, I believe, passed a resolution that they fund services for the elderly at less than 1 mil.
Mhm.
So when we did our numbers here, we were operating under different, and we have different information here. That maybe that was something that hadn't been done correctly. And it turns out that it has been. So I show a number here that's doesn't even make sense with the budget you requested. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It doesn't. I show a full mill. I show a full mill and the county by resolution doesn't fund services for the elderly at a full mill.
Yeah.
So the numbers are different. So I don't see anything unless you guys have different information. What I see is basically the value of a mill with nothing that's related to your budget.
Well, so we need to go back and look at our budget, see what you question.
And we can do that, but I just trying to think, did we make any cuts or did we just or make any adjustments or do we just plow on through? Probably.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Well, then we can do it. I'm sorry. Forget what I said. I don't like not being prepared there. That number threw me because I have this sheet with my pencil and chicken scratches on it. But we didn't do anything. So if we go to our budgets and services for them. So like I told our register of deeds, we made a decision as commission. We didn't schedule any salary increases. We just went with the numbers from 2025. I think you had some. Change. And did you guys remember or recall any other changes or adjustments we might have made to the services for the elderly? No,
Only was the dollar amount that we requested them to use out of our capital improvement. How many dollars? Can't find my.
Services for the elderly has $72,613 capital improvement as of the 23rd of May. That's right. Okay. So what we're asking in your budget then, you're the expert on it. What do you see that we can, or is there anything you see that we can find some efficiencies, find some savings?
I thought the only thing I can think of, which I don't want, but if you're needing more money back into my system, my department would be either charge the senior more for their meals. Right now they pay 3, only pay 4, so we can even that out like 350, or they can pay the 4 and we pay the 3. Or another thought is maybe charge a very small minimum fee for when they to the riders. Like for the taxi service. Which, like I said, and or I did talk to Tim, he will not increase the prices of the meals for next year. Unless something is really whacked out. So online will still be $7. So that's the only thing I can think of that I could bring any revenue back in.
One of the things Mr. Lloyd brought up was a grant from the state for the transportation ban.
Right.
Do we do that? Do you?
No,
We don't.
no, ours is solely from contact.
And the reason behind that is what?
That I do not know.
Okay.
I think because they have to be complete handicap accessible, we'll have to take people in wheelchairs.
And
We don't do.
We don't equip because area agency take care of all handicap.
Okay.
We only have equipment for just, which we have plenty of people who just need to ride to town or to the doctor's office and things like that.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Talking to somebody, are they gonna, they said they deliver meals at one time. They were kind of surprised how many expensive homes they delivered to. Is there any way to cut the number of meals down? That people don't really need them, is there any way?
No, I'm not doing that.
I mean, there's
I mean, when they put this all in, this is for the senior 60 and over, there was no income guidelines. You know, people, right now we're serving approximately close to 50 people. When you think of everybody in this county that's 60 and over, you know, that we're not serving very many compared to how many seniors there are, you know, 60 and over. So I think if they don't want the meals, they wouldn't be asking for the meals at that cost. A lot of them is their kids wanting to help out their parents. I have one gentleman that lives in Nebraska. His mom just got back home in Portland. She's very elderly. He just wants to make sure she has a meal every day. So how do you do that? I mean,
That was a question.
yeah, I
I don't.
myself, I would not put the income guidelines, because we're not. Where would we begin?
I just, I mean, and I agree with you, I don't know how you do that, but. I know. I don't know, the people that,
Because I mean, we already taken so many services away that they had before, way in the past. But so now we're just down to meals and a free ride to doctor's office. You know, or to Walmart or something. But I mean, if that's what I'm told to do, that's what I'll have to do, but I'm just saying. Compared to everyone that's in this county, I think we're serving a very small amount.
yeah, deliver to everybody, you'd be running all day.
Exactly, so. I think this is just, it really helps out a lot of families and making sure mom or dad or both getting a meal at least once a day. They know that they're eating.
That's it.
And then if they see this not happening, I had a daughter call me and said, hey, mom likes to stop planning these meals. She's got them in the refrigerator, you know, just stop them. So, you know, I said, of course, you know, anytime you need back up, just give me a call, you know. Stop losing the hospital and we lose that person or someone passes away, you know,
But we're just trying to see.
but that's what I said, that's the only thing I can think of,
Right.
either raise the cost to the
Yeah.
seniors for the meals, or we start charging a small fee for the riders. That's the only thing I can think of. Which I don't wanna do either, but I don't know where else to be quiet odds.
Sure, no, that's fair and fine. We're putting you on the spot. And it's uncomfortable.
The only other place I see is. The taxpayers are concerned about how much they're paying. They know they need a volunteer to deliver someone. And that's not anything you can necessarily, I'm saying.
In town, at Portland, we have churches that
But they still do that.
do it, yeah. But around this area, no, and I have. In the past, it letter to every single church. You know, and I can't depend on someone, I could do it this week, but I can't do it this week, cause
There
I
has
gotta have somebody,
has to be an organization, something that will make sure that somebody shows up there.
and that I cannot balance.
But I see that she gets quite a bit for mileage with it.
Oh, Mary, yeah,
And that's what
and
the-
she starts out at Portland, she goes to Airburst, through Powhatan. Out to Fairview, you know, and then my guys here in Helmwauk does other ones here in town, plus about Robinson, you know. Cause we do service Polk County,
Where do you see mileage at?
Oh,
we married Oswald,
Yeah,
I had to
it's-
take her mileage because she used the girl vehicle.
But it's in the, it's not in this budget item. It's,
It should be in there, we don't have mileage someplace on.
I see a salary. And then I see a fuel.
But there's a mileage in there somewhere.
I thought I seen it too. Let me get back to it.
Maybe that's it.
15,000 times X. I don't know what that means, I'm sorry.
10,000.
15,000 times 70 cents, probably, yeah, but that's right. For a 10.5, is that it? Is that the mileage?
Meal delivery cost, yeah, 15,000 miles. There's that was, yeah.
Okay, all right, I just didn't know. Is that what you meant?
But I thought it showed up someplace. When you reimburse her or something, it says so much for mileage.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, and we pay by with the federal government is charging now, so that makes sense in my age. You drive like over 80 miles a day.
All right. Well, this is one of those areas that nobody wants to do or cut either. We're bringing you in here, and this is just trying to make this part of the process where you feel like you've got some more input here in budget decisions. So we did tell you about the salary, so now you know that. The rest of the stuff, other than, I mean, is there a willingness of anyone here to do anything with the meal cost or delivery, or excuse me, the taxi charge? Right now, there's 0 on the taxi. Okay.
It is the free will donations when they turn it in.
Do you get any free will donations?
Yes.
You do?
Mhm.
Significant or?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, we always ask Nikki for the answer.
So $100 that week they might bring in, one driver.
Okay,
Sometimes it might be $22, week's time, it just.
there's something.
How, yeah, there is
All right.
something every,
All right. All right.
and then it gets turned in.
All right, well, go ahead.
If you raise the milk price, you think I'd cut anybody off?
Mhm.
You don't wanna cut anybody off, maybe. That's bad. Can't afford it.
Right.
Well, this isn't, is this more of I always think of services for the elderly and the meals program, which is often confused with the dinner meals program, is not necessarily like an income thing. It's a well-being check type thing. I mean, that's my experience. They take food to people that they just want somebody to look at. It's not necessarily a financial issue. Is that right? I mean, it's not like people can't afford the food. It's just I mean,
So. We try to give payments, so people who don't have it. One guy, he had to write off because he's gonna afford it. He only got $6,000 a year. And then when I had told him, we have to get this paid. He said, I thought it was free. I said, no, he said, I can't afford it. I'll only get $6,000 live on. And so I could see where $6,000 is not very much for it.
no, I
That's
understand.
all you got.
Right.
So it'd be nice if, in that case, if we had somewhere we could.
Well, I wish we
Do
could
better
have
for-
more people.
do better for him.
Kids do take care of their parents, but I wish we had more people who would adopt a senior. And it's also nice that we have people that goes in, make sure someone's okay. Sometimes Billy will call them. If one of my drivers can't get hold of that person, and they know they're there,
Okay.
so that helps too.
All right. Well, we were looking and you got some suggestions there. I guess we'll just think about it. We need to think about it because, the meal cost and the transportation thing. So this is just a process. I appreciate you coming in.
That's all I got.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. I mean, this is all new territory, so we're just trying to get through it. So I appreciate you coming in. Sorry, we were a little late. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, bring it on up.
Orange squad's ready.
Well,
Ready or not?
so I'll tell you what I told the other two ladies that come in is this just the county's in a financial situation, budgets are tight. We understand what's coming as far as an increase in property tax. It's pretty significant. It's 9 mils, like 1.8 some odd million, closer to 2. Maybe it's over 2 actually. And it's a lot, and we're looking for we're conceding on raising taxes. We're looking for concessions on the, the expense side. So we're coming to department heads or non-elected personnel even trying to work together through this, because if we don't work together, then things get kind of weird. So how's that?
Yeah, no, I understand. I looked at mine, I had put in, I was allowing a concession for future in my capital improvement. I can take that whole 5,000. Usually I don't ask for much in capital improvement because I know I try to watch and stay just under budget. And I'll put some, I'll have some leftover essentially in my budget and I'll move that to capital improvement. And last year, I mean, I know we're all different arms of the same creature, but I lost out on some of my money I was gonna put in capital improvement because another department needed it. And I get that and that's fine. But so that's why I was just gonna put some money into it this year, but I don't have to allow for that. I can put that out. So that would take 5,000 off of my budget. A lot in the scheme of things, but helpful.
Team player has that.
I try.
But in reality, your capital improvement, I mean, what's your plan to spend the 90,000 you have sitting there?
Well, that's the whole thing. And then I got thinking because unfortunately, you know, a big part of our office of things we do is actually state jobs, but the state doesn't pay for that. So that's where we get our little bit of stipend for the motor vehicle special MVT fund. But that does not cover everything we do for the state. So then that ends up coming out of our pocket. And I was looking at, gonna be meeting. We've got a few printers that are getting older in this and that, but I do have my tech fund, everything. So, yeah, like you said, it does have more sitting in it. I
Is the
guess
tech fund different?
that is different. The tech fund is supposed to help with the IT.
It's
thing.
different than capital.
It
It's
is,
a tech
yeah,
fund.
and that's what I was thinking. But our office just got revamped in the summer of 21. I don't remember what the total costs were on that, but that's what that capital improvement is there to save up for, so that is another
So the
10, 15
The
years.
thing is, we should have in our capital improvement, this thing we're gonna have to do is, there has to be a plan to use that money. In 5 years, I mean, there has to have a plan to use your money, you just can't have it sitting there, so you gotta sell. So technically, that's the way it should be, we've never done it, but
Okay.
I know like $25,000 we took off her budget to make her use out of capital improvement. And you just see this last time you're starting to drop under the 50% at the end of the year, you're gonna have to get into some of your capital improvements to make it through the year.
Are you saying there is a policy or you'd like to see a 5-year policy?
No, that's what I mean, Scott had said that we
Scott,
should
yeah,
have
you're
a,
right, okay.
everybody should have a plan to use their money. I mean, there's no big expenditures in most of our departments upstairs except for computer programs or, and a lot of yours come from the state. I mean, most of your programs are in the state. I mean,
Like I say, they say, okay, here's the program and now you got to pay this. But, yeah, it's never gonna go with the state. Yeah. So like I said, yeah, I don't need that. I was speaking with some other treasurers and I still have my finals on costs. But our motor vehicle envelopes that we get, those nice little square ones that everybody's used to, I can actually change those to a number 10 size envelope, which is just your regular mailing envelope. And I can have the same information printed on it. And those would be less expensive. So I'm looking into that with Navarrete, the company to order those through. And that would be a little bit of a cost savings that I can do. I, however, am not gonna go with just a plain white one. You know, I still wanna keep my costs the same or less, but I think I can do the number 10 to get a basic colored one for less money, so I could take another 300 out of my envelope.
Okay.
It's not much.
No, and I
Every
didn't,
little thing I can cut.
that was, that shouldn't have come out and I apologize. I just, $300. So one of the things Mr. Lloyd told us too is don't look for pencils. You know, we don't need to look for
Yes,
pencils.
I know,
And I don't
yeah.
want to take you down to that point. Our question is big efficiencies, and in your office, it's, I mean, what I see here, the biggest line item for you is payroll. And that's probably a topic for another time. We're just looking through this to try and see and have a clear line of communication so we can. I mean, if there was anything in there, because we come up with a final number of 272,000. That's what we come up with. And I don't really have many notes on that other than probably capital improvement.
Yeah, I know, and then. Been. What do you think? You could hear.
I think that's what was taken up, then we had to add back in the 25,000, we. Took out the capital improvement thing.
I think when I went back to where you reflected to. There you go, 270, 60, 56 or something. This. You know, with 272. So that's what it-
If I take. 278, that's what I take that out, that's the proxy for capital improvement, that puts you back down at that 278, so. In line with what I was requesting last year. That's what you're saying.
I think that's. Last year was 270. 856.
That's what you requested. And then adoption was 245, which we determined was the 25,000 we pulled out of capital improvement.
Okay. Yeah. So. What are your questions? And meeting work.
That's probably it. You know, I'm just.
Probably just giving me a heads up, that's what's gonna go on.
Well, I mean, we did adjust it to 272, which is different than what you requested. And so I wanted to make you aware of that. We didn't increase anyone's pay. We didn't, I mean, when I look at my notes, I mean, other than the salary stuff, I just had no change on your schedule B, C, and D. Just did what you did, but you're saying my notes aren't correct. Nikki said something different already. The $5,000, we can scratch that.
We can scratch that.
Okay, so there's a little, and then I think Rich's point was to a 5-year plan for capital improvement. Maybe we need to try to line something out on that.
You know, I think we need it for all of them. That, as far as I'm concerned, in our capital improvement. There's certain departments that don't need $90,000 or $1,000 sitting there never gonna use them. I'm just using your number.
Sure.
But I mean, if the most expense you're gonna have in 1 year if we replaced. The IT department takes care of your computers unless they come from the state. You don't buy them outright through your department, do you?
Well, it comes out of my portion of my fund, my treasurer's fund.
Or your treasurer check fund?
Yeah, so it's a. Yes and no, is that going yes to that?
Well, so you're not using the capital improvement to buy your computer. You
I
gotta
don't
check.
have to use capital improvement on the computers.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm saying, so what big expenses would you have in your office? Last time, see, because I know what happened last time, we started talking about capital improvement, changing money, everybody redecorated their office. I'm not saying they didn't need it,
Yeah.
but that's what everybody
They
did, because
needed
because everybody thought they were gonna lose all their money in their capital improvements, so everybody
Sure.
spent money in their offices.
The only
Way
other
before your
thing-
guys' time, but when we were.
Which, I'd actually mentioned to Lucas, a while back, just think I was like security cameras. Some things like that in our office, and you had mentioned. There can talk about maybe something general in the lobby that could be connected into.
I know a lot of people talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't go
No.
further with looking at mine, but that would be something that I would really like to do in my office. A lot of the treasurer's office have cameras that kind of scan down the counter. That way it's safety for the customer and for us as far as seeing the
Sure.
transaction, seeing what's going on. I don't need one per station, one per station so that they see the actual money transactions in case they are doing that way. That they didn't get the right money back, but just a generalized that would be something I would be looking at doing with my capital improvement.
So to Rich's point, we need to figure out what the number is, the matching number in capital improvement, but also our financial situation is that we don't want to fund. I mean, if we can get that down to a number that's more in line with, I don't know, what should it be? You say it should be 40,000, 60,000, whatever that number is. It'd be neat to spend that down. And so we don't have to ask for that from the taxpayer side. But what we don't want to do is continue to rob from the capital improvement to fund our operations. So that's, the reason we are where we are here is because that's what we've been doing. So
That's what we did last year for department, $25,000 just to reduce things. We took,
right.
cut your budget by 25,000. And said at the end of the year, if we need it to use for capital improvement.
But that 25,000 hasn't been pulled out of this 90 that's listed. Is that right? So in reality, if the treasurer's office uses it, they're down to 65,000. That's right. That's the math. Okay, so we're already working you down, trying to get to a number that's workable. Go ahead.
So the question is, what did you spend last year? Did you spend 245? Or
No,
did you spend
sorry.
270?
Here's numbers. Back.
Well,
No.
you mean a 224?
Well,
Right, yeah, he's asking where was that? I ended up down, trying to remember. I did not spend. Now, my budget at the end of the year, I ended up with 13,000
left over.
under budget. It stayed, so
So
I'm working on learning, I'm still learning as I go, cutting where in my supplies I cut as I go.
Okay. So actually you spent 232.
You're talking 2024.
I'm talking.
Yeah, and you're looking at 2025.
This is-
It's all right. It's all right. A lot of numbers.
Wait, I'm trying to think back,
So you're saying,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
All right, so we'll go back here. So in 2024, we adopted 269, almost 270. From that, you had 50,000 left over, 13,000.
That's where I was at,
So
because that's where I said I was learning more and more that I could use my
that's
special motor vehicle.
that's right.
Did you say that savings was in supplies? I cut you off. So
It was between me being able to use my motor vehicle money for more items, so I'm learning what I can use that for. Use that for some of my conference pays and costs and things like that, instead of that having to come from county general. So that's, like I said, I keep learning more and more. What I can do, and
is there a sheet or so your department has motor vehicle funds. Is there a sheet that ever lumps that together so we see what the total cost to run the treasurer's office is year to year? Because that motor vehicle stuff probably changes.
it's all.
I just have to put the numbers together.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
and that's one thing the treasurers, the KCTA keeps going to the state on, because they're saying just to run the motor vehicle department. It costs X amount of dollars, but you're only paying, M amount of dollars, and you're leaving the county short this much to be running state business, and it's coming out of taxpayers' pockets.
Okay, so
That's a big fight.
BJ, this is just the back and forth across the desk looking. This is the first round, kind of the cursory glance. We made some adjustments, told you what we did. We're still looking, still having ideas, but we haven't. I mean, I don't know where this thing is gonna go. We really want to work together, and I'll make direct eye contact because I really mean that. But this situation is unpleasant. And so
I understand. I know, that's. You never know until you ask, so I asked and we discussed.
So, and this is, like I said, this is the first round of asking because there's some stuff, that we're still juggling some things. So we may ask to see you again, but no big deal. Open door policy, come on down, phone, email, all that stuff. Let us know. Appreciate what you're doing. Really do. And I appreciate that $300. I mean, that means you're taking it seriously.
Yeah, I never know what suppliers are gonna do.
Sure.
That's where I get
Sure. And
nervous on some of that. But.
And our intent is not to squeeze you to your absolute last nickel. I mean, I want you to run a job that, or an office that's efficient and effective, all those government words, you know, that I use.
Right.
But I don't want you sweating ink and paper clips and stuff like that. All right?
Well, but sometimes those are the easiest thing to.
If we can cut them, cut them.
In the past, and you like say, it may sound minor in the larger scheme of things, but in the past, I saw 5 different sizes of Post-it notes. Why do we need all that? No, you guys pick which one you like and you.
That's good.
The one, you know, and. Yeah, we've tried to cut the extra, cut different sizes of envelopes, so we had that.
It takes a lot of little things sometimes to add up to a big one.
That's okay.
And we're looking for a
Help us
big,
be-
obvious one that I wish someone had. Don't you have a big, obvious one that we're just missing? You can just say no. You can just say no.
I'm just gonna go, that's why I like to say in my capital improvement,
Okay, all right.
where it asks for that.
Okay. I appreciate you coming down. I know you're busy. No, wait up.
One sec. So you said number 10 envelope, is that this way or is it this way?
Sorry, number 10 is your regular one, so it's your,
That's a full width
it's
thing.
like a, let's see, regular piece is 8.5, so it's like 9 by.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the normal one, sorry.
I didn't know, I make shorter ones.
Yeah, number 10 is your normal average. If you just go to Walmart and buy yourself a package of mailing envelopes, that's gonna be a number 10 envelope.
Right on. Now you know.
Those little things you put there, give out are a little bit smaller.
They are, and they're nice.
So they're smaller envelopes. I thought maybe you were using a smaller. The card size ones or.
Oh, yeah, no, those are just, they nice because you fold a piece of paper in 4 and the registration goes right in there.
What about going online? What about more services where people interact with the treasurer's office on an online platform? Is that the future? I mean, I assume it is.
It is, there is already online motor vehicles where they can renew online, during their tax season, they can pay their taxes online. We still have to mail everything out. So all those online services, they come in, we get a download, and then we still have to process it. It's, the online process may be faster for the customer, the consumer, so they don't have to come in. It's actually more time consuming in office. By the way, we have to download it, print it. We have to make extra copies.
So it's still paper copy.
It's still
not-
paper, yeah, it doesn't save paper
Oh,
by doing that.
That's
There-
crazy time.
No, it really doesn't. They are, you know, we're looking at the possibility of maybe getting, again, people want to receive their, well, state's doing it on motor vehicles. Do you want to receive this paper or electronically, you know, stuff, but you have to have that physical copy for your motor vehicle. You have to have that decal on your plate.
Sure.
You have to mail that out.
Okay,
Uh,
all right.
Still have to say more.
Yeah, it's still the same word.
No, that's fine and fair. That answers
Plus,
it.
if you gotta mail that out, so them coming in, that's the extra postage, right?
It is.
So that's more expensive.
Yeah, it's extra postage. And that's why we don't charge, a lot of counties charge to come in the office. They have a fee that people walk in the door. And it's like, they're saying, oh, well, we're trying to slow down our foot traffic. In the large offices, because they get so busy, they get overrun with foot traffic. And for us, we've always said, no, we're not gonna charge that fee because we're getting nickel and dime to death already.
We pay that DMV modernization fee. What is that?
It is not DMV mobilization anymore.
Well, I just remember that.
No, that's just a.
It's a bugaboo. Okay, all right. I didn't mean to touch on.
Highway.
Okay,
They swooped in and took it.
okay.
Yeah, when movers was going into effect, they started charging that fee ahead of 2012 to start paying for the system. And they said, oh, there's a sunset in so many years, we'll sunset that. I laughed at that time, I said, you think states can let go of that money? No. And so what, it got reallocated on with some statute and legislated that it now goes to the highway. So technically, there's 2 lines on there for highway, because they get their $1.25 or whatever is on there.
There you
But they
go.
won't change the name of it, so everybody still thinks it comes once.
Yeah, I'm not, what's how long it takes the environment.
Ask and answer. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I wondered the same thing.
Yeah, oh, people question us, and we don't.
Okay,
The highway.
all right. I don't want to cut you off. This has been
That's
great.
fine.
We're learning.
Yep.
But again, we're early into this. Actually, we're getting late into this, but we're early into this round. So I appreciate you coming here.
Policy goes both ways.
Right on.
Ask me when I'm sitting at my desk, or I can bring stuff up, or I
Been very
can
good
go
to
over the motor vehicle sheet. Happy.
Okay, thank you
All right,
very much.
thank
Really,
you,
thank you.
gentlemen.
All right, it's 10:30. Where does the day go? Mr. Markham, I believe you're next, if you want. We're a pretty easy bunch here. I've been trying to lay out the synopsis, the county. We're gonna post a 9 mil over the R&R. Trying to get the county's financial ship or house, whatever you want to say, back in order, or ship afloat. So really feel like the commissioners are, I guess, kind of taking a pretty, what I think is a pretty, I don't know if it's bold, but it's a big step, and we're gonna catch some flack for it. And we're looking for help on the courthouse side to try and alleviate some expense. So this is a friendly, do you see anything in your budget that is flexible, and go from there?
The one thing that I would have over the number that was requested was, that included my salary at 85, which now is at 78, so that would be $7,000.
I think we counted that already. Appreciate you bringing it up.
But yeah, I hadn't accounted for that in what I had upstairs as far as what I was looking at providing. Other than that, at this point, I don't really have a whole lot that I feel like can move. The only other thing that I would have would be is that I budgeted for a 50-cent increase for each one of my employees. Not saying that would materialize depending on what happens with employee reviews, but that would be probably the only thing that I would feel we could move on.
So we did, in fact, I should explain that. We didn't factor in any raise in your department. We did your 78, and we did the 2025 numbers for the other position. Well, 2026 for the other one, here for the new guy.
Okay,
So we didn't factor in the raise.
did or did not?
Did not.
Did not.
Did not. So I have
Last year's numbers for that.
Yeah, I have a number for the appraiser. I want to confirm here. 299,610 is the number we're working with after our adjustment, and that would factor in the negotiated contract, or your negotiated contract plus no raises, and I had no change on anything else as far as the schedule B, C, and D.
Okay, so.
Is that right?
B, C, and D, we had 7,000, 30,000, 750, and 11, is that correct? For the schedule B, C, D. For B, I had 7,000, schedule C, I had 30,000, 750, and then schedule D was 11,000. That would be correct, okay.
That's what I thought.
And then using last year's numbers for the rest of the employees plus the negotiated contract, I mean, okay. That's kind of where I'm at this point. I will tell you that I am looking. I'm looking at some options with our Augmentin software. I'm looking at it, it's something to change, or not change, but to basically upgrade our parcel search. The company that I'm looking at is called Snyder Geospatial out of Denver. They say they can get us a 30% discount, and I'm not sure what number they're looking at and what the long term is on that.
All right.
That is something that I have a demo set up. I believe it's on July 30th, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Both Lynette and I are gonna be looking at that to see if that is doable. If it's a good software and it gets us, some lower costs going forward, then I would definitely look at getting that swapped out.
Now, are there any costs associated if you change? Are there any contingencies with working?
That's another thing that we would have to look at
Sure.
to see if there is anything, anything else that we can look at.
All right.
So,
That's at $22, all right.
um,
Got $22 including winter.
it would be considered in. I'm thinking it's going to be in our maintenance, and yeah, within that, but that $22,000 line item also is for our GIS. It's also for our CBNs, and our Orion maintenance as well, so it's included in there, but it's not. I think the last time that I was looking at it, our line item from that was about $1,700. So it's not a big issue, but, you know, every dollar helps, so. I mean, that's where I'm at.
So that's our attitude also, and almost, we've done this now, you're the fourth person, third and fourth, I think. And we're just looking for the low hanging fruit, the easy stuff,
Yeah.
trying to work together. We're if we have to make adjustments, you know, it's unpleasant because you don't know where they're coming from. So we're just looking for input, but this is the easy round and, you know, we're just looking for direction. We wanted to come in to see if you had anything that was real simple. And I mean,
Yeah, and mine is that, you know, I don't ask for more than what we need, at least as far as I feel. The numbers that I use to create my numbers are basically 2 years old. I mean, we're looking at 2024 to predict what 2026 is going to be.
okay,
So, you know,
Sure.
for us, it's kind of, we kind of almost have to plan a little bit ahead, but I try not to be overzealous with that.
and we appreciate that.
You know, and as far as what goes on in my office, we usually don't order things we don't need. I mean, we are,
You said usually.
well, usually unless something breaks or. You
I
know, unless there is a need that we cannot get past.
understood,
That-
understood.
That's what, you know, that's what
So I mean, I appreciate you coming down here and this, you know,
yeah,
this, again, this is just the easy conversation and we're gonna get through this as a board here and as a courthouse employees and then, you know, we just see where it takes us. But appreciate your time and effort.
And if either of you or any of you have any questions, I mean, feel free to stop by my office. You know, I'll be more than happy to discuss what, you know, what we have.
Sure.
What we want going forward. Like I say, you know, like I said before, I've put off some technology updates, for quite a while, just because, they would cost a lot to implement. You know, one of them was a field mobile, thing, which would basically get our Orion software out in the field with our field techs. That would probably cost somewhere in the range of 20 to 25,000 to implement. And then I'm not sure what the maintenance cost would be per year beyond that, but it's one of those things where right now we're just printing them off on paper, they take them out with them. It's good for what we're doing. It gets us, it gets us what we need for now.
You have 46,000 and some change in your capital improvement, which I assume that's planned for vehicle.
Vehicle upgrade,
Upgrades, so-
in the future, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of, much like the county, I like to have something in there to fall back on, just in case something blows up. You never know.
So Mr. Linville said before, Scott Lloyd had mentioned he wants some sort of plan for funds and capital for that. That would just be a good idea. And so your plan, 5-year plan is, I think we saw that someplace with your vehicles.
Yeah, mine, I want to have a plan where I turn a vehicle over every 5 years, so they're not getting more than 10 years old. So I want them to age out at 10 years old. Flip that one over, the one that's 5 years old would then be used as our daily driver to get to the 10 years. And then rotate
Fair enough.
that.
That's your plan. It
So
sounds
yeah,
good.
that's that, and then I do like, I do want to have some funds in there to do the technology upgrades somewhere down the road. Doesn't have to be, you know, right away, but we also have to plan for the fact that there may be some statutory appraisals that we may have to do, and that would come out of that.
When you buy a new vehicle, are you buying new? Are you buying good?
The last
used?
two we bought were used.
All right, okay. And you're looking, do you do appraisal work when it's muddy and snowy? Or, and where I'm going with this is,
Whether we can't get to something to measure it, then they probably would not go out. Then they would be doing work within the office, which would be data entry
all right.
or other such.
So when you make a vehicle purchase decision, I assume you're doing your due diligence and we're not, I mean, I think you drive Grand Cherokee now, is that right?
Well, that's what we have for our second vehicle. Our daily driver right now is a Cherokee.
Is a Cherokee?
Yeah.
All right.
And the reason that the Grand Cherokee came into being was that was the vehicle we got during COVID, and it was basically the only vehicle we could find.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just asking questions, trying to learn.
No, no, I understand. Yeah, and then I told the commission at the time that that was more vehicle than we needed, but it was what we could get.
Those were weird days. I
They
remember.
were definitely-
Yeah, I coming back. Okay, okay. Questions? Go ahead.
So how many miles do you drive your vehicle a year?
On average, I think if we have a vehicle for 10 years, we usually have about 100 and somewhere between 120, 140, depending on how many sales we have, you know, that during the period. So, yeah, yeah. And it's generally, like I say, for the daily driver, it's usually within the county borders. The other vehicle, when it's lesser miles, that's when we're using it for classes, conferences, other departments can use that vehicle as well. So it probably would be more highway miles on that one to begin with until it's turned over.
Okay, right on. Well, this was, I appreciate you coming in. I know you're busy and it sounds like a pat response here, but we're working together and like, I said, this was looking for the easy stuff and we're still gonna be looking and it's unpleasant, but maybe. But I'm glad you come in and if you need to come back, have more questions or you need information, you know, we're right here on Monday morning between the hours of 9 or 8 and whatever.
Certainly. And I'm usually in my office from Monday to Friday, 8 AM to 5 PM if you guys got any questions.
All right, well, appreciate you coming down. Really do.
Sure.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, appreciate it.
If it's all right, could we take a 5-minute break? Yeah, would that be okay? I would make a motion to take a 5-minute recess. I'm back at that. 10:43. It's been moved second, all in favor, say aye. 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 Please, Brand, fungicide, corn.
First drive on my driveway the other day. The fourth way, and see rain coming, about halfway out there. They go this plane coming across the top of the cornfield.
He did that on purpose. That's funny. Pilots have a sense of humor, I think.
Well, the big planes they used to fly around. They used to do that too. driving down the road with the tractor one day and I turned off. I put them turned this right at the same time.
I was in the combine, it's been 2 falls ago. And I was on top of a hill in the middle of nowhere, man, north of my house. And the plane buzzed me, and the guy had to know me, I didn't recognize him, he got low and come in from behind, and it scared me.
Another time I was down the farm, I couldn't see anybody coming to come up behind me. Makes you want to pull up, you know. All of a sudden, I was up.
It's good to have. Nikki, am I signing this, or is that you?
Chairman goes around with the seal on it.
So I can sign it, Lucas W. Heinen,
But chairman.
chairman. All right.
That's it. I didn't sign it yet.
I did.
Yeah, but,
I think we're good on the rest of it. And this was just the same information.
Yeah.
So. I think we're. They'll come back, I guess. We will call the meeting back to order here with Mr. Limcool walking in, 10:43. So next is, well, we only have 2 more on the list, and that's Dallas with IT and Tammy with Road and Bridge. And yeah, no, you're right. We're really just. Does Dallas want to come down? Okay. Guys picked up at the last meeting when Scott Boyd was here, the 6 counties he's working with. We're the only county that's doing their full chip and seal schedule. Of the 6, now the other 6 we're doing partials, but we're. So I guess what I asked him was, we're not in this. There, and people are, governments are cutting their road budgets to try and take care of short. So. That's just a
A good example will be Donna, and I think they are on a 5-year rotation and a lot of their roads. By the time they get to the 5th year. Really have some major work. Yeah. That's the only reason our roads last, it's like they have.
I just thought that was interesting that.
A lot of our roads just get plain age on them now. Moisture and some of the ditches and stuff.
And we're gonna talk, we have a work session after our meeting here, so we'll go back through this list because this roads and this, we got a lot of things we can talk about. Mr. IT, Dallas, you're here. Come on up. So this is, you're kind of the last today. Appreciate you coming down, number 1. So, the commissioners, I just signed, in fact, this mill levy increase, 9 mills. We raised our budget ask, I guess, quite a bit. So we really feel like we're sticking our necks out, and we're looking to courthouse and county employees, essentially departments, to see if there's any way we can be more efficient. I mean, look for ways to save money, essentially. And so we wanted to do this. We're just kind of looking for the low hanging easy stuff. See if you had any ideas, and you take it from there.
He's a little bit different. He was just in with us. And we
That's
just
true, yeah. That's true. I just saw you last week, didn't I? Yeah, I knew you.
It's true.
I'm sorry. Well, we did make a few little adjustments to you that we found, and so We did, yes, we were able to cut out, one of our projects, the Duo project. Uh-huh. So that took out. As well as we think about 30. Okay.
What was that?
Oh, the Duo projects, the multi-factor authentication. You didn't have. No, that's. So our numbers, we made some changes, some commission adjustments. Do we have notes on that? In IT, I'm sorry. Loaded question. You have a 26 requested of 291.51. We did a final of 273.500. Part of that I know we're not doing is we didn't make any salary increases for anybody across the board. Well, basically across the board unless they eliminated a position and took on some more work. But did we? Rich, do you remember what our reasoning behind the adjustment? Was that capital improvement magic again?
Well, we took a $5,000 miscellaneous out of the budget last year, not capital improvement, so. We had a miscellaneous side, out of last year, but we. We added the five, we had.
About 500 more than what they did this year. No, 5,000.
We did ask you to look at the housekeeping things of moving those. Yes, and I unfortunately am still working on that. It's all right. It's all right. I mean, that was not that long ago we asked you to. Nikki just said it in that jog my memory. Yeah. Saving money. Right, but it does take it out of your number and I didn't. The only thing I show in my notes is removing that duo from the item at C. I think that's right, the Duo MFA project. Which would. The majority of our expenses are contractual for services that we are already receiving to provide the level of IT and staff. Sure. We're all going back to the notes. You guys have anything to add? Did you have anything in your notes that you recall?
No, I don't.
How did we arrive at this 273? I mean, I know we didn't just pull that number out of the air. some of it was salary, some of it was pulling those projects out for the attorney, I believe. All right, so I guess, go ahead.
The only thing I was where I suggested we won't come. This year, stay with the same rather than last year, but
All right. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so you were just here last week, which and you've had a little time to look over, I mean, and we just talked about it. Is there any, what do you see there as an opportunity for savings?
One thing I need to, we'd like to look at is, our line item for software licenses. It includes things like, Adobe Acrobat, which is fairly expensive. And that's just miscellaneous software. I could look at lower priced alternatives. I don't know how much I can say. That's
Sure.
not much.
No, and we understand, this is just. I mean, we're like I said, we're just reaching here, trying to work together to find some ways to save money. But if you need more time, especially since you're working on the other part of your budget with the expenses that go through your department for the county attorney, you know, then you can come back sometime if you want and let us know how that worked out and how those numbers worked out.
anytime you find something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure you got the capital outlay.
Who's that? IT. If it's a computer, it says 27,877. Is that IT? All right. As of the 25th of May, 23rd of May.
They got to put in.
Yes, capital outlay, we, have requested to put $5,000 a year into there for the purchase of a new S400.
Yeah.
Those are. Last time I checked, it was a little over $30,000.
All right. Okay. Yeah,
And have a lot of cost cutting.
we understand, and so what we're trying to communicate to you is a willingness to work together on both sides of this table here. And we've, I signed my name to that 9 mills and we've got to do our due diligence on both ends. I mean, the county has spent more money than they've taken in for quite a while and we can't do it anymore. We're just asking for help. If there's anything you saw there that might be an extra that, you know, that we really wouldn't see, you know, but since it's your department, you know what you're talking about. And that's why we had you come down. Make sense?
I appreciate it.
All right. You did just fine. We really didn't score any big hits on this. We were just hoping to, so.
If I do come up with anything else.
I trust you. Thanks for coming down, really. Thanks a lot. And thanks for getting me that charger too.
Not a problem.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so Road and Bridge, he doesn't really need to come in. I mean, do we have any other? See, we got a work session on the, which is fine. Do we have any other things to come before the commission for an open session here, or do we need an executive session on anything before we close?
So we can discuss next session.
We can discuss your work session. Rich, are you in good shape?
Trying to decide fully. Well, about a 5-minute, I'm trying to figure out what. I wouldn't mind just a, quick 5-minute on, let's see. Maybe performance.
No, it's personnel.
Yeah. Yep, 5 minutes. Executive.
Okay, it's been moved to go into a 5-minute executive session. Second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
It's the 3
Sorry.
commissioners, that's it?
Yeah.
Three commissioners for 5 minutes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And it's for non-elected personnel and performance. So we're out at 10:56. We'll be back in a little after 11:01. Sorry. Well, you got a long walk back to your office.
I know.